That's much better. Oh, much better, better, better. All right. Today I want to talk about toxic people. And the reason I want to talk about this is because there's so much of it in this world right now. And it spreads. And it's contagious. And it doesn't help when people are being influenced by other miserable people who are just trying to fill a void. Because that's basically what it is. Toxic people spread their poison and push people down so they can feel lifted, right? That is true, but why is it true? What is, because isn't, being lifted subjective? So if what's lifted or happy to me is much different than happy to somebody else. So one can argue that, what is happiness supposed to look like? What narrative are we listening to and believing? But don't get it twisted. I know we have feelings that reward us of being positive. So I know it's not, the opposite of what we think happiness is, but we are also looking at it through an ego, through our own individual experiences. Just mind you, we need to look into each individual's brain because there's so many factors that trigger it. Every choice we make, every experience and narrative that we've learned has created the story that we live right now, today. And that's why when we hang out with the negative, toxic people, their narrative that they keep living is the reason that keeps them stuck. And as adults, this is something that you see. As a child, well, first of all, your frontal cortex is not yet fully developed until you're about 25. So they're mainly thinking with a reptilian part of our brain, the fight, flight, or freeze, the, hormones on top of that sets it on fire in many different ways. But the bottom line is, what that child is experiencing is the narrative that they were fed. And that can get deep, right? So if it goes back that far, if it's that deep and hardwired over years and years of it being passed down from generation to generation, I'm just talking about the negativity, the narrative, the belief of what is happiness, or some can argue you can read the Bible or if you have a sense with God, but again, and this isn't discrediting because I do believe in God, but the Bible, it's a narrative of somebody else's story. And it's what we perceive, because we can only perceive what we've experienced. So anybody's experience being revealed or related, this conversation is going on a lot differently in my head than it is yours. And how do we begin to find a place in the middle, or a place where, toxic people may be toxic, but are we really superior to them by calling ourselves superior? Again, that's a direction that creates judgment, is personal judgment, whether it's a goal that you're trying to achieve. Because our success and accomplishments don't come from how many check marks we mark off. It comes from who we are inside, who our character. I mean, those things are, there's no measure. And if it's measured, then it's not a you problem anymore, it's a they problem. And that's just like a Zen way of thinking. Now, people also could argue that Taoism is a religion, which I can tell you it's not. It's a way of living, not a religion. I mean, Buddha knows there's a God and talks about a God, a higher power. And whatever your higher power is, I think it's important to have one, but I don't want to take this down that road of religion, because that, again, we all interpret differently. So no matter what I say will be interpreted based off of what you've learned. The best way to explain it is, I don't know. I mean, I guess we can get really deep, and maybe I'll do a different video for this specifically. But the whole idea of toxicity and the people that we hang and surround ourselves with, and I know we don't see it as kids, you know, but as adults, it like clicks. It's like you don't want your child to hang out with that toxic person who, you know, could possibly use drugs. And it's not a stereotype that parents pick up on. It's their behaviors that I think we recognize that creates that judgment. And again, this goes back to what we were taught as bad, but there are instincts as a parent I think we were naturally born with. And I think it comes down to, you know, for example, if a kid is going to not take care of themselves, they're not going to take care of somebody else, you know. Or I wrote some of them down, like, yeah, I mean, if they don't value themselves, they're not going to value others. And if they don't love themselves, then they're definitely not going to respect, love, or even empathize with others. And there's some extreme cases of, was it antisocial personality disorder? I think we even said it wrong. So YouTube, this is my disclaimer. I'm not, everybody look it up, because I might have said that wrong, and I don't want to give you the misinformation. So what I am saying is that there are extreme cases where a person lacks or has no empathy. But that's a very small percentage. And there's brain damage cases, sure. But everybody else is capable. Not saying that they will, but everybody is capable of being able to let go of, you know, the things that we think matter. I mean, I think if I stayed stuck inside my world, you know, it's easy, it's comfort, you have control. Getting this out there, making videos, trying to figure out how and who can help here in, you know, my discovery, my wisdom, my knowledge. And I think life has taught me a lot. And I've survived a lot because I had to eventually come to this realization that Because at the time, when something bad happens, your first, instinct or feeling is like, this is going to last forever. This is my life. This is going to represent my now, my tomorrow, my yesterday. But we all know, being on the other side of a bad situation, that we survive, right? And hopefully we've learned to not repeat that same situation that got us into that place. And if we keep noticing this pattern continues, then it's time to like, whoa, what's going on? Do I just have bad luck, or did God give up on me? Because that's what I thought. I did. Like, I might as well give up. This sucks. Life sucks. I did horrible. This is the story of my life. Until, I don't know. Oh, I have a big feeling it was motherhood. Knowing that I may not be able to change the past, but I sure as heck am going to make it a better future. But I didn't know what was happiness. I didn't know how to do it, what I needed, and I kept feeling like my heart was there, but I never moved any further. And then events and chaos would happen in the world, and I would immediately go straight to that and blaming that for, my shortcomings. And I'm sure a lot of those situations influenced that thought pattern. I mean, it sure wasn't easy, especially COVID, losing my car after a car accident, and a whole, stream of events prior to that. And I was tired of being a victim, and I realized that I am a victim. Even though I would be the first one to say, I'm not a victim, but I was still angry and hurt from my past, that I wasn't going to go down without taking them with me. And that was just a very hard way to live. So, what this journey has taught me, though, is that all of that had to happen in order for me to arrive where I am today. So if you're watching this and you're arriving here now, this is your wake-up call. It's never too late. It's never too late, and everybody is capable. Everybody can change. We just need to commit ourselves. But it doesn't have to be hard either. And that's where we do that to ourselves. We live off those old narratives from the old egos, and we're like, it's a pattern that we keep feeding into. And there are ways to slow or to recognize and eventually stop those patterns. I mean, you're always going to have fear, and there's always going to be that negative self-talk, but how you handle it, that's what gets better. And when you start seeing it from a different perspective, that these voices are really questions you need to be asking yourself, like, why am I feeling these? There's gotta be a reason. Let's find an answer. Let's solve the problem. And it pretty much is simple. A, is it rational? Is it 100% fact? And once you debunk that, that it's amazing what it does for the brain. I mean, we don't feel it. It's not like magic dust or lights get brighter. You don't see it when it's happening. And maybe not at first, you won't even really feel it, because you're still combating with like, when we're nice to ourselves, when we don't judge ourselves, when we, combat negative self-talk with rational thinking. These are the things that our brain can understand. You know, we understand logic, and that's why when we're adults and that part of our brain has fully developed, that's where wisdom and logic and understanding start to come in. And I just, I think we have to arrive to these answers on our own, because our brains only know what we know. It's staticky and loud. Maybe I'm talking to you. Oh, is that better? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I bumped that. Hopefully it isn't. No, come on, we're out there. Is that better? Testing, testing. How's that better? Hello? I think I need a little more. There we go. So, where was I? I guess the bottom line is that we need to acknowledge the fact that our journey is constantly happening. And success isn't something that we arrive to. It's a state of mind. I mean, I'm not financially successful. However, I'm successful in many areas of my life that, you know, our brains are so willing to just forget. We'll remember all of our failures and all of our shortcomings, right? But maybe that's something our brain's trying to tell us too. If these are things that happen with negative results or a feeling, there's something that's attached to make us have this resentment. And our brain is constantly trying to remind us that these are unresolved issues, and in order for us to file away the good things that we know about ourselves, to really embrace those good things, to bring them out of the closet, we need to resolve, you know, our shortcomings or those feelings of failure before we can open up that closet. I mean, I know I would always peek in that closet in my self, improvement work, DIY project I did. But again, this is all part of the process, whether it was home by myself or in a class at university. It's subjective again. It's not so much what we've learned, but how and who we've become from what we've learned. So anyway, I'm digressing. So if we, like, I honestly forgot what I was saying again. All right, it's gonna come back to me. The lawnmower, and then digressing, then the dog barking. This is something that my brain does a lot too, and I'm very quick to judge myself. Oh, well, there we go. And I'm not gonna allow that to happen. I'm like, oh, well, I have ADHD, but yeah, I do. However, that's an excuse. No. People would argue, oh, it's not an excuse, it's a condition. I'm like, yeah, I get that. But in my head, I'm telling myself this so I can use it as an excuse for myself to not improve, to stay stuck, to be a victim. And that's exactly what I was talking about. So it's bridged in perfectly. I was a victim. I was a victim to my life, to my situation. I felt trapped, suffocated, because everybody else's validation mattered except for my own. And that's the bottom line. I didn't value who I was. And I let their narrative, their belief of what success looks like, convince me that I didn't make it. And I think this adventure, I'm like, why am I still feeling sad? Why am I letting my past still control me? But that's part of the process, It's like you're bringing up all these feelings from the past because you're now allowing yourself to see them, to feel them, to not put them in a closet and shut them off, because secrets don't die. They try, but if you look hard enough, it always reveals a hint, a truth. And eventually, without that influence, if it truly did die, people would develop to come to their own ideologies at a later time. Anyway, so I'm again digressing. No, I digress because yes, I have an imaginative mind, and I enjoy it. This is what helps me come up with ideas. Sometimes I have so many ideas that I crowd them out and I don't remember the good ones. So I'm learning to write them down or immediately make a video. So that's why these are a little sloppy right now. Very new. This is my podcast / YouTube video. I didn't take the time to check my color, my light, my hair. I just wanted to get this done and get used to it, especially now where I'm living this life now. I'm not just preaching it. And at first, materialistic things would stop me or make me feel insecure or not worthy to do this. Because I know it's new. I know it's going to be messy in the beginning. I know that there's going to be places where I fail or I don't achieve what I expected. And that's okay, because that's part of it. But in order to make it part of it, you just gotta get into it. And I know this is I really keep telling myself, oh, you're just gonna do a 10-minute podcast, 10-minute video. But as you can see, I ramble. But yeah, please subscribe, like, and share, and check out the podcast. Right now it's just on Spotify. Here's the thing, I'm self-teaching all this setup on my own. So and I do it as it becomes a priority. So I'll do more as soon as I make more or have more videos. So maybe I should just do it today because it's on my mind and get it over with. Another thing that I've been working on, when you have a thought, stop putting it on a to-do list, just do it, especially if it's something that can be achieved. If it takes longer than 10 minutes, then put it on a pad and move on. Because I don't want to be distracted either from a task and then forget my original plan. But by doing this, I'm actually completing tasks and not making them into a plan. So there is that. And then it's a reprogramming of the brain, so it's still a little new right now. Same with getting into a routine to keep these videos going. I mean, this is my second in a week, maybe, or maybe it's been less than a week. So hopefully I can get into the habit of doing this more often. Just, again, to get the message out, to hear it out loud on the tip of my tongue, and to help somebody or anybody out there who maybe needed to hear this today. And maybe my knowledge or wisdom, could inspire. That's the ultimate goal. It's not so much, I want more eyes, because I want more people to know that they're not alone, to try to look at both sides of spectrums instead of just placing judgment in one. I mean, with politics going on right now, it's easy to do that. And that will be another day. I mean, I don't really want to mix politics, but I think a lot of it has, like, a lot of how we feel isn't being helped by the people in power. And again, I'm not going to get into that now. So again, all right, next time I want you to count how many agains I say, or so's. Actually count that now or next time and put in the comments. I would love to know. My so-meter. I think it'd be fun. Bring light to it so I'm aware that I'm saying it, but do it in a fun way. Sometimes we gotta do what we gotta do in order to do it. So hopefully that's me, and I will see you guys later.